Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, to the Akim doing the work in truth and sincerity, as well as the few Akwat that listen and learn. This is Brother Shawar with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And, what you have going on right now, really, not amongst Israel. No, you could say amongst Israel, because I don't consider these guys, to be of any significance, but they do play a role because, we do know there's false prophets in the last days. It tells us that in Matthew. And, we know there's going to be wayward doctrines, and the Lord what he's doing is sifting the house of Israel. He's dividing, the elect from the rest of Israel, because, there's only one truth, man. And we believe through the Spirit, that in Great Millstone, that's where the truth resides. Starting with the apostles and elders on down. And if you can't see it, that's where the 100% truth is, then the Lord has opened your eyes to it. It's that simple. Because a lot of these guys, they go off their feelings. They do this thing for vainglory. They do this thing to put themselves on a pedestal for fame, for clout. They're not in it for the right reasons. They're not in it sincerely. And they don't have the truth. Ultimately, the Lord isn't dealing with them. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is not dealing with them. So what you have going on right now is a bunch of wayward doctrines and, false sayings and, all these kind of things about the scriptures and about, things that just aren't true. I'll just put it like that. Things that just aren't true. And the real men of the Lord, starting with the apostles on down, are going to continue to rightly divide the word of truth and break everything down, but only the elect is going to see it. So first precept I want to grab is in Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 39th chapter, 24th verse. It reads, "As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked." Right, so there's a bunch of new stumbling blocks, that the Lord is putting out there right now to sift the house of Israel, to sift the elect, or I should say the tabernacle of David. So the Lord is, he's because the Lord chooses people's delusions. I did a lesson on this a couple weeks ago. The Lord will, purposefully bug somebody out because he doesn't want them to know the truth. And they won't know. Obviously, they can't, they can't make that realization because the Lord has a spirit on them to be confused. That's why it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Because the Lord is the one who opens our eyes to this thing. The Lord is the one who puts the spirit on us to make the lessons, to believe, to know certain things. He gives us our portion of faith and understanding. So this is all of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. So if you can't see it, you truly just aren't, the Lord just didn't bestow it upon you. Right? Verse 25. For the good are good. Let me start over. For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. Right? So, the Lord has everybody in their lot, man. The elect is going to be in their lot. The elect is going to understand the truth. The elect is going to do what the elect was said to do. The prophets, the true prophets, are going to do what the prophets were written to do. Prophesy against the kingdom they're in, on the highways and hedges, day in and day out, in season, out of season. And not, not adding anything to the scriptures, man. And rightly dividing the word of truth. And then we're going to get that precept, matter of fact, let's get it now. I was going to get something before it, but let's just bring it out since I quoted it again. It's 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to shew thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, right? So this is why, because these guys really don't know the scriptures. They don't study. Because if they really studied, did their diligent research, that goes for these, these other Israelite groups, these Christians that try to debunk what, the great millstone preaches. They either are, agents set up, they took the bag to confuse, Israel, or they just don't study. Because if you study and did diligent research and went into the history and read into the Greek and the Hebrew, you would have come to the conclusion, and Apostle Tahar said this in his lesson, earlier today. I can't remember the name of it, but you would come to the conclusion that we are the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans. It lines up with the secular history, it lines up with what the scriptures say and what we teach about, man. With the doctrine, that goes for everything else. But they don't, they don't study to show themselves approved, and they're not rightly dividing the word of truth. And that's what it comes down to, because there's one truth, man. There's one doctrine. There's one correct way and correct one correct doctrine that the Lord set in place, man. And we are prophesying it, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down, the brothers that teach the same doctrine, and of course the elder bishops and other brothers in Great Millstone. We've proven it through history, prophecy, which is obviously popping off now, and it's going to continue to be proven because it's all of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The MOTB is going to be, it's if you can't see it already, technology is already here. The RFID microchip. It's already used in some places in the world, some places in Babylon too. If you can't see, where all this stuff is heading, then the Lord just has you blinded. It's very obvious what it is, man. So these guys bucking up against these things, people are starting to see, or at least people with some sense or some spiritual discernment that the Lord gave them, they can see that these guys just not right. They just don't got it. They don't got it, man. The Lord just is not dealing with them. Right? So let's get this in Psalms, because it's crazy to think about this, because the Lord is all in control of this. So these guys are going off, some of them, like I said, they took the bag. They're sellouts, man. They're sellouts. There's been sellouts amongst our people, since the ancient world. Our own people sought out Yahushua. So those same spirits are back here today. So that's always going to happen amongst our people, and they're going to receive judgment for it. But some of them are just sellouts, and some of them are just sincerely wrong. And they just, the Lord just has it to where they're confused, and they're just not a part of the elect. But this is, so this is Psalms 51:11. It reads, "Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not that Holy Spirit from me." And this is how, we got to pray to the Lord for this every day. Right? Just like King David did, because it's all of the Lord. This is all of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He could bug you out tomorrow. He could bug you out right now. He could bug me out after this video. You've seen a lot of brothers who were in the truth, heavy for a long time, for years, man, and then they fell out, went back into the world, and, they're bugged out. So it's all of the Lord, man. That's why if you're not rooted in this thing, you're not studying to show thyself approved, fully persuaded in your own mind, which we're going to get these precepts, or, I'm going to get some of these precepts later, the things that I'm quoting. If you're not doing these things for yourself in your spirit and your relationship with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you could be easily confused, man, because a lot of our people, they don't study, man. They look for things, to entertain them. And they want to hear the smooth things. right? The scriptures say that, you know. Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. Because our people like to hear, you know, the smooth things, you know, that sound nice to people. That's where these doctrines come from. Because they're trying to please the feelings, you know, or cater to the feelings of either women, a lot of time women, or just what sounds nice to people because of, you know, the Western things that they've learned, the westernized mindset that they have. They're trying to still, you know, cater to it. So this is Isaiah 30:9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, which are the prophets, because prophet just means seer, to see, but prophesy means to see before, and that's what, you know, the word prophet goes back to, seers, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits, right? And those smooth things is the what? The things that you hear in the churches, man. Similarly, you know, these other wayward doctrines, because they're smooth things, because, you know, our people, like I said, their mentality is so westernized. So the things that they've learned in this perverse, backwards world, you know, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the things that go against it. So, you know, for example, you know, when the quote unquote rape doctrine comes out, when the rape doctrine is really just breaking down the laws in Deuteronomy, you know, dealing with when rape happens. It's nothing crazy. It's not, you know what I mean? It's what's written, man. It's how the Lord wrote that, to how to deal with it when it happens, when it takes place. You know, when people lose their mind over it because of because of what Esau has pushed in this world and showed us about, about rape, to put it bluntly. You know, that's just one example. And then, you know, people will write GMS off of that, you know, without even, you know, just because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't sound good to them. You know, that's why a lot of these guys attack it. They jump right to that, you know, quote unquote rape doctrine, saying that people in GMS, you know, they rape women. You know, no. Nobody in Great Millstone rapes women, you know. They would be all over the news. It would be, you know, nobody's saying to go do that. It's just literally reading the scriptures, saying this is how in the ancient world, this is how they dealt with it. These are the laws on it, on how it was dealt with. But, you know, that's something that people are uncomfortable with because of the Western mentality, you know, amongst other things like multiple women, you know, like recently now, you know, you are what your father is, which has always been, you know, part of the doctrine, because that's how the Lord written. Or that's how the Lord made things to be. And that's what's written, I should say. You know, Numbers 1:18. You know, you determine through your father's seed. But they're saying, you know, your mother is basically, you know, it's just the woman worship, man. Now they're trying to say, you know, that your mom has to be an Israelite as well. And that's not the case. Because if you're an Israelite man and you could, you know, put a child and put seed in any woman of any nation, and that child is going to be an Israelite. That's how it works, you know, and that's been debunked many times. And it's very easy and simple and scriptural, you know, but these guys, what? They prophesy smooth things, you know, because they're trying to please the feelings, you know, of our people. And our people, man, Israel is, you know, a very, very simple, or at a very simple and low state, you know, so you kind of, you know, you kind of understand, because, you know, Jake is just through, you know, so you can't even have too many or too high of expectations when it comes to these people, because all Israel is not Israel right now, man. That's why 2/3 got to go on this side, pursuing Zechariah 13:8. Right, so, you know, let's continue, and let's jump to the book of Amos. Right, so this is Amos 9, and I'll start at 8. It reads, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord power, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." So the Lord he's dividing. Not only is he sifting out the elect from the other nations, because the seed of Israel is scattered amongst all nations. Another point that proves that the seed is through the Father, because you will have Israelites that look like other nations, as it is written. But yeah, so we've been scattered. So the Lord is also pulling out the elect, and pulling us back to who we our true heritage, from all nations. And he's also he's also pulling out those of he's also pulling out the true believers, the sincere believers that have the 100% truth, that believe the 100% truth, from the ones that don't, from the ones that believe these wayward doctrines, from the ones that want to believe on these smooth things. So there's a difference, man. There's a sifting happening, a separation. And it's all Yahweh Bashem Yahushua doing it. And in these last days, man, we're going to all see. Everybody's going to come to the realization where that the 100% truth was, in Great Millstone, starting with our apostles and elders on down. And by the time they realize it, it's gonna be too late, man. Unless people repent now, which doors of mercy are still open, man. But they're about to close very soon. You see what Esau's doing out here. Esau's moving quick. He's not playing. So when things, get real out here, Jacob's trouble is in its climax. It's gonna get to the point where people are gonna know they messed up. People are gonna know and understand that, this is where the 100% truth was. We fumbled it, man. We had it was in front of us. We just didn't listen. Right? In Proverbs it says, the Lord is gonna laugh at their calamities because they didn't hearken unto His word, man. They didn't hearken unto the His hand being reached out. Roughly paraphrased, right? Verse 10. Amos 9 and 10, "All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us." And these guys are, they're as good as sinners, man. They're as good as sinners because they're leading Israel astray. They got blood on their hands at the end of the day, man, because playing with this word is very, very crucial. You gotta be careful what you say, man. If you don't know something, you shouldn't speak on it. Or study or ask questions before you speak on it. Because when you don't, rightly divide the word of truth, and you start teaching and you're telling other people the wrong things, that's blood on your hands. So these guys, if they're doing it, cause like I said before, some guys are, just wrong because they're just wrong. But some guys are doing it because, they took the bag and they sold out. But either or, man, is judgment coming for that. This is why it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, man. So if the Lord has you in this 100% truth, man, you better pray and thank the Lord. I thank the Lord every day. Tawadi Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for this truth. And I pray He, never takes it away from me, and that I endure until the end, man. And we all got to pray for that because it's all of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so this is Romans 14 and 5. "One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind." Right? And you got to be fully persuaded in your own mind, meaning you got to truly believe and be rooted in this truth. You got to believe the words written in the book so nobody can throw you off course. So when you hear these wayward doctrines, you know what's wrong, you know what's right. Most of our people, they're not fully persuaded in their own mind at all. They're all over the place. They're double-minded. Scriptures tell us what? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That's why you have a lot of guys go watch all these other camps and then come back to Great Millstone, on the comment board and ask questions. Oh, well, this camp said this, and so what do you think about? It's confusion because they're not fully persuaded in their own mind. So, and some people, could be sincerely seeking answers, but Jake, man, most Jake, they're not really, they're not really sincere in trying to seek answers. They're, asking you questions to basically try and get you to go off, say something wrong, so they could be like, oh, well, that's not what this says, So, but the ones that are sincere, they're trying to find a way. That's beautiful. And, the Lord will, if it's the Lord's will, he'll guide you to that path. But most Jake, man, that's not what they're doing. Right. And then a lot of these guys, man, they're basically just adding more fuel to that fire when it comes to these kind of Israelites. But, we read earlier, man, the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. So this is a couple more scriptures and I'm going to close it out. Point is basically made, but there's a couple more scriptures I wanted to grab. This is Proverbs 14:18. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. So the simple, man, these guys are simple. These guys are simple, man. They're not, they don't do diligent research. They don't really study the scriptures. They don't go into the words. They don't go into the Greek and the Hebrew. Not to say, all the men in Great Millstone are perfect. Everybody has different portions, but there is things, a lot of things that because we learn from the greatest teachers, man. Really from Yahweh Yasharala, but the Lord gave us great examples to follow on this side. Apostle Tahar, Apostle Ramla, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ka, the elder bishops. So there's a lot of things that we learn to do that these other people in these camps and these other guys, man, whatever, guys, because some guys on their own, some camps, the Christian church, the Catholic church, they don't do these things that we do. They don't go into history, link it up with scripture, read precept upon precept, line upon line, So these guys are really the fools, man. So last precept, and I'm going to close it out. This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Right? Back to the point of the video, man. The Lord is the one who has people, confused, who has people in the 100% truth. The elect, Lord's will be, part of that number, and then the 2/3, man. It's that simple. Verse 8, as it is written, the Most High have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. And most Israelites are just completely spiritually dead. And that's also the eye, the spirit of slumber, the eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear. And then on the other hand, the scriptures are manyfold. On the other hand, you have Israelites that, they may be seeking something spiritually, but they're just completely off, man. They can't find the truth. They don't find their way to the truth because the Lord didn't want them to. Right? Verse 9, and David saith, let their table be made a snare, a trap, and a stumbling block, and recompense unto them, man. So ultimately, it's the Lord doing it. He set stumbling blocks up in place to basically keep the elect in the path of the elect, in the lot of the elect, and keep the 2/3 in the lot of the 2/3. This is how the Lord is doing it, man. So you gotta watch out for these stumbling blocks for anybody who's new, learning and everything. You gotta be careful, and pray that the Lord is guiding you down the right path, man. Because a lot of these Israelites are getting confused and they don't know what's going on. you know, and it's gonna lead right to the, you know, to the missile food if they even make it that far, because all hell's getting ready to break loose out here. So, you know, we got to be ready for what's coming. Stay prayed up. You know, as I said, watch for these new stumbling blocks, because the, you know, the the demons, man, the left hand energy is increasing in these last days. You know, Esau's coming down with more great wrath. So, you know, stay prayed up, man. Stay rooted. So, Lord's word is edifying to the elect. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakudash, Shalom, Abide Babal, and call him Yasharala.